Good evening, everybody. Matrix here, and here's my watch list for January 10th, 2019. All right, so looking at the futures right now, we are gapping down a little bit, and we are about to run into this trend line on the monthly chart. Let's take a look a little bit closer on the 5-minute chart or 5-day chart here. At the close, we did gap up a little bit from the very weak closing. Basically, it gave up all of its gains late day, and after this gap up, it's continued to sell off a little bit. Now it's holding this little mini trend right now, so I don't know how this trend will react. What I see tomorrow is I think this mini trend will snap, and then we're going to come all the way down to at least test this trend line at 255. But from here, whether it holds and rip or snap and come down to the next support area, I really don't know. Just know that this 255, 2550 area, this is a key support. This actually kind of translates to the 255 area on the SPY. I personally would love to see it snap this trend line and panic and see if this holds. I think if it does panic and we do see a selling, then this should hold a little bit and then snap, come right down to the next area here at the 2525 area. All right, this area translates to around the 253 area on the SPY chart. So without further ado, let's bring in the SPY. How does the futures translate into the SPY movement? So currently we are gapping down a little bit. I talked about this 255 on the SPY. So once we get that trend snap, I am looking for either a bounce or a break or a breakdown of this 255 area. As you can see, drawing down, I use green as support, but drawing this horizontal line across, you can see how this 255 area acted very well as a support here and acted as resistance on the day before the Fed speak happened. Okay, so depending on what it does from here, this is a very key point, this 255 mark. Coming down a little bit, we do have major support here at 253 as well as the 9 EMA. We also see two support areas here, a little bit of resistance here as well, and the 9 EMA. So these two marks are going to be very key. Tomorrow's Thursday. From my Monday analysis or Sunday night analysis, I did say that we are going to come up a little bit more, and eventually at the end of the week, which is Friday, we will test this 260. So tomorrow, I think it's going to be more of a tricky day or a choppy day where I think it's going to snap, hold, and then rip back up, and then probably finish around the highs or where we closed today. And then on Friday, I'm thinking that it's going to pop into this 260, a little bit above into this 50 SMA, and then the big dump happens. I mean, that's the overall trap I'm seeing in the market right now. It's just a theory that I've been going by for the whole week. Today's action was kind of tricky already. As you can see, the past 2 days, it basically dojied out, right? It looks like the market in itself wants to dump, but something is holding it up. I mean, let's bring this back in and look at the intraday real quick here. Right. Let's go with the 15-minute. Okay, so the past couple of days, it looked like, especially yesterday and today, it looked like it really wanted to break down. And then eventually it slowly got back up. And today as well at the open, it really wanted to break down and eventually it got back up and over. And now it's coming down just a little bit. So we are getting into that rounding phase, transition phase, where we do go through to a transition between stage 3 to stage 4 of the market, right? I will talk a little bit about the 4 stages of the market in the future video. I mean, look at this Look at this morning's chart, this 1 minute chart here, right? I mean, this is a major sell-off. Prior day before this here was a major sell-off. It basically trapped a lot of shorts in this sell-off here, right? And a lot of longs got bit on this dip here, and then we got, it's basically a fakie. This little dip and up, this was a fakie. So this trapped shorts, and this drop trapped the longs. Okay, so overall, I think it's a very trappy market right now, and I think tomorrow it's going to continue to be trappy, and then by Friday we should pick a very general direction of I'm betting it to go down, but that's just my opinion. Okay. Let's get into the watch list. Let's pick some tickers here. There are a lot of tickers in play. I picked out a handful of them. So first up, we have Apple, AAPL. Apple, I really like because it's basically done what I've been saying it for it to do on the 4th of January here. It basically gap filled. Okay. And here is that gap fill at 154.50s. So I'll be watching that tomorrow for a nice double topping action. I mean, if you zoom in a little bit on the 15-minute chart, it's basically double topped here. So I'll be watching it for it to pop back up and test it again, and for the gap fill, and short it back down. Now we have support at 152 and 151 as well. So let's mark that off for you. Here's the resistance I'm looking at. Real quick, red line. And then here, I said 152. So right about there. Oh, yeah. Okay, so 152 acted as a support today. And it's also a little bit near yesterday's highs. And 151, right? Yeah, 151. Okay, nice round whole numbers. I think it's gonna, since the overall market is gapping down right now, so it's gonna gap down a little bit, probably start out around this area and then dip, and then we'll have to see what this 151 and 152 does, right? If it might just snap through and come back up and trap everybody, just like it did on the SPY today, and then rip back up and come back up to test this highs here. Okay, that's my plan on Apple. So I'll be watching the 154.5 as well as 152 and 151. Okay, if any of these areas hold, these support areas, I will long it, and my target will be 154.5. And if 154.5 rejects, I might even give it a little bit more wiggle room to 155, which is a key psychological whole number. If any of these two resistance areas rejects or shows signs of weakness, I'll short it from there. Anywhere in the middle here, I do not want to play. Okay, I do not want to play in the chop zone. Basically, for the past few days, past couple of days, I've been playing in this chop zone, and I personally got chopped out a little bit. Good thing I was using small size, and I kept the size, and the loss is really small. I did put in a few good winning trades though. Too bad I didn't record them. Tomorrow, I'll make sure I keep a log of everything I do tomorrow, and I'll make sure I put out a recap. Next up, we have CGC. Okay, so CGC is ripping to shreds, ripping faces off, as Trick would say. Currently, we are sitting at around the 35 area. So let's mark that off right here at the 35. More like 34.90s. Okay. What I want to talk about on CGC is the increase in short interest. Okay. It basically doubled from December 28th, from about this day, December 28th. This is where the short interest starts to increase, and it basically doubled from here at 30%. Today we ended up at the short interest of 60 something percent. Okay, and a lot of shorts are piled in. a lot of shorts are piled in this. I mean, anywhere from this top here, the long-term shorts, to this area, the 35 area, they're piled in. So right now they are kind of their assholes are kind of puckered up right now. They're pretty scared, I would say, and it's coming to near that point where a massive squeeze would happen. I do see a potential for this thing to squeeze back up. Now, let's mark off some resistance. So 35 is a resistance mark I'm watching. I'm also watching 36 and a half. Right about there. Yeah. And I'll be watching 37.27. So 37.25 area, which is right there. Okay. Now zoom in a little bit. You'll see the 35 is a key psychological whole number. As you draw this horizontal line across, you can see all these resistance marks, right? We're very near it, so and we are gapping down. So this pop came after hours. I think these guys, this was just a cover pop. I think tomorrow we will get a dip, and then if some sort of support holds, we will rip back up. Support, I want to say it's at 32.5. So let's mark that off right about there. Okay. It's basically the bottom of this red wick here where we had massive volume, and then we held here all along this area. I'm going to mark that off. So this whole thing acts as support in my opinion. So if we do dip out of the gates, or if it sells off, if it doesn't gap off some more, if it doesn't gap up anymore, then it's basically going to sell off at the open. I will look for it to come down to support right here at 32.50, and then look for it to hold, and then rip back up, and then eventually break all these resistance area for a nice squeeze, right? We will also be watching this 50 SMA at the 33. Okay, this could act as support as well, but basically the line in the sand for these shorts at the 35, which is very close, and then I'm looking at these areas right here. It's 36.50. If you draw a horizontal line across, it's this massive green volume right here, right? And not here. So basically the nearest massive green volume I see is this bar right here at 36.50. And then also the closing price here at 37.25. It's also this day on November 14th, the top of the red wick, and November 12th, the bottom of the red wick. You see the opening price here at November 5th, and zooming back a little bit, we have a double top at when they first IPO, and they topped out at 36.5 as well in June 21st and 22nd. All right, so these are key marks I want to keep, and this will be on my main watch. I like it for another long day, not because I like the company fundamentals or anything like that. I like it long because it closed really well after hours. It gapped up. I like for the dip and then rip and then squeeze all these short sellers out. That's what I like about it. All right. And of course, if any of these marks starts to show weakness, then obviously it's reverse the plan and short it right back down, right? So that's CGC. Facebook is super overextended in my opinion. Although the day was pretty, volume-wise was pretty low, I am watching basically a double top of 145. Okay, which is a key psychological whole number. And as you can see, 145 on December 19th had massive volume. It's the highs of December 19th. So this in itself is a very significant resistance area. Along, if you count back all the days and watch this horizontal line, it's a significant area, right? And obviously, if it breaks out and starts holding 145, then it's a long, but I highly doubt it will because it's pretty overextended. It had, what, 4 green days in a row, and I think tomorrow could be a profit-taking day or a little pullback day. The market itself, the futures itself, is gapping down a little bit. So first target, if I do get in short, my first target is 143. So right about here. 143 is yesterday's high of days. Okay, and my second target is 140. So if I am going to get it short, I'm going to be watching for about 5 points from Facebook here, just a pullback. And the 140 is also the 50 SMA on the daily chart as well. So that plays really well. Okay. On the 15-minute chart, you can see 143 hold up today. That's a major reversal point. And then 140 all the way down here. And then we have some support here at the 142 too. But by this time, I'll probably pay myself and I'll just let the small size ride. If it works, it works. If it doesn't, then it is what it is. BABA, super overextended chart. I think a profit-taking day is about to come. Looking at the past few days, it's always been a gap up, dip and rip, gap up, dip and rip, right? Tomorrow, we should be getting a gap down and then pop and drop. That's my opinion if it was going to pull back, right? Looking here at the double top, 153.35 area, I'll be looking for a double top around 150 to 153.35. Okay, if it gets up there. If it caps up and over, then prior resistance becomes support, right? If it resistance number 2 would be 155.30. So let's mark that off. It's basically these 2 days on December 11th and 12th. It's right here, 155.30. That's the opening price of December 11th and 12th. Okay, if you draw a horizontal line across, it's basically the key psychological number of 155, right? That's resistance number 2. And then, of course, 156 would be resistance number 3 I'll be watching for. It's the top wicks of those 2 days as well. We didn't have major volume coming in on these resistance points, but however, we did see it play very well as a resistance mark on the charts if you draw the horizontal line across. So I'll be watching for the sell-off from there. And support here on BABA is at 150. So basically today's opening price, maybe give or take a little bit of wiggle room down. If it gaps down at the open and it starts holding this 150, then it's a long idea and I'll be longing it. Okay. Next up, we have MU. MU has MU itself on the daily chart. This is a very beat down chart. One thing I want to note is this daily downtrend line. Okay, so let's draw that out real quick here. Yeah. Change the colors. This daily downtrend line, MU respects very well. So let's zoom in a little bit. Did I get the line right? Yeah, it's pretty accurate, right? As you can see, the downtrend line starts here from the end of May, and the end of May. Okay, so it's following this trend line very well. It's also following the 50 SMA very well from late August, right? So we are tapping right into it right now. So I do believe I want to look for the sell-off. We are coming into major resistance today at around the 36 area as well. So I think the sell-off is pretty... I like the idea of the sell-off. Basically, I'm looking for a pop and drop. Okay, bring it back down to the 9 EMA area. So the resistance I'll be looking for is 36 and 36.25. So which is today's high of days. Okay. From there, I'll be looking for a rejection signal or a short. However, if it gets up and over, pulls back and starts holding, I'll be looking for a long. So that's the idea on MU. And finally, we have SQ. Another very overextended chart. We are running into the 200 SMA right here. The 200 SMA indicates that it's starting to get a little bullish, actually. It's flattening out, but then we have a slight roundup. Because it's so overextended, I'll be watching for the 200 SMA to reject it right at the 67. That's where it's sitting at right now. So mark off 67 right here. I had it. There it is. And resistance number 2, 68.75, which is right around this area. And resistance number 3, the key psychological hold number of $70. Okay, so $70 is pretty self-explanatory. Is this major volume here on December 4th, the top of this wick. 68.75. If you draw a horizontal line across, I am looking at this area right here on the massive volume on October 11th, which is the closing price. I'm also looking at support from October 24th to October 26th. We have support at November 12th, and we have kind of support at the end of November as well. So 68.75 area, I'll be watching that. And of course, I went through 67 already. It is 200 SMA. We have November 12th as well, acting as resistance. Because it's so overextended, I am looking for a profit-taking day. A pop and a drop would be very nice. And I'll be looking for the 65 area as my first target. So just a couple of points here. Pull it back down to 65, pay myself, and then from there I'll be watching it either come down or come back up to my entry price where I'll get out break even. But that's the thesis on it. If it gaps down or it dips at the open and holds 65, maybe even 64.50, if it holds, then you can actually long it back up. Okay, so that's my watch list this evening. We have 6 tickers. I talked about the plan on the SPY. I hope you guys enjoyed what you watched. Make sure you hit the like button and subscribe. That means a lot to me. Perhaps even share it, because I make these watch lists for free. And you notice that they're ad-free as well. So I like for you guys to share it. Thanks for watching. I'll see you guys all bright and early tomorrow. Ciao.